The wacky world of MultimediaJay.
Hello there! My name is Jay, also known as MultimediaJay, and welcome to the wacky world of MultimediaJay, what is going to be my new tech series here on YouTube. You know, this may seem a little weird to some people who've seen what I do on here before, but yeah, I've been doing all kinds of videos over the past several years. Tech videos, gaming videos, audio segments that I upload as videos, and stuff like that. I've been doing all kinds of stuff on here, but one thing that's been notably missing from my channel for a long time is a proper introduction video. So I'm here today to finally get around to saying hello, and start off the new tech series with a little bit about who I am and why on earth I do stuff like this. And of course, this being a video blog type doodad, what kind of vlog would this be without obligatory jump cuts between the topics? Anywho, so I've been interested in multimedia type stuff. As you can imagine from the username, I've been interested in multimedia type stuff for a very long time. From my early childhood years, perhaps, maybe even earlier, I don't know. You know, maybe I responded to like television when I was a baby or something. I don't know, but you know how it goes. We're all too young, or we were too young to remember, or something like that. But anyways, so for most of my life, at least as far back as I can remember, multimedia type stuff has always caught my eye. When I was a kid, I absolutely was obsessed with the concept of television. Here we were with this gray box thing in our living room that could show us stuff happening from anywhere in the world. And even at the tender age of 4, that was fascinating to me. Then I was introduced to video games when I went over to a friend's house one day after school, and they introduced me to the Atari VCS, which was the 1970s wood grain version of the Atari 2600. Now, I'm not that old. I mean, this was a very old Atari back then, but back in those days, folks that didn't have Nintendos had some ancient Ataris sitting around that they got cheap and had some cheap games and stuff like that. So they had an Atari. They had a wood grain Atari 2600, and I thought that was awesome. Then they got a Nintendo, and I thought that was really awesome. And so then of course, I started bugging my dad for games and stuff like that. So I eventually wound up with the ill-fated Atari 7800 as my first console, but I still love that thing. I mean, I can play 2600 games on it, so it was really awesome. So that was my first console. Then I finally got NES, SNES, and stayed on the Nintendo side of the console wars all the way up until... actually all the way up until college, when I became a PC gamer for the first time. As far as computers go, my humble beginnings with computers was that wonderful day in school one day when my first grade teacher sat me down in front of an Apple IIc, and I absolutely marveled at how complicated it was to turn the stupid thing on. I mean, you had to put the 5 1/4 floppy disk underneath the keyboard in a bay coming out the side of your keyboard. Then you had to reach up and around the side to turn on the monitor, and it reached way in the back to turn on the system. So, yeah, kind of humble roots, but I managed to use some Apple IIs and stuff like that. Never really got into computers as anything I'd want to get serious about until junior high, when I was introduced to a Pizza Box Macintosh LC, or Pizza Box, I should say. But anyways, yeah, from the, when I saw that you could start that thing up without having to put a disk in the drive and all the multimedia capabilities, I was hooked. I did all kinds of stuff with Macs throughout middle school, and of course my high school had Windows machines instead of Macs, so I kind of had to back off of that. But the influence of my Mac years back during the System 7 days have influenced how I work with PCs since then. So, high school, played around with QBasic, learned my way around Windows 3.1, 95, 98, and then college rolled around, and I went off to college with Windows 2000, eventually XP, and started doing some real PC gaming, became more of a PC gamer for the first time in college. And even though I'd done some programming and software stuff, I didn't really start doing hardware stuff until halfway through college, when the piece of junk computer that was supposed to get me through college died halfway through. And so I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to learn how to fix this thing. So we bought the service plan for the computer, and we tried to invoke the service plan, but this is Best Buy we're talking about back then, and so you know how it goes with these service plans and extended warranties. These retailers like to weasel their way out of actually having to provide the services they sell you, so I got completely blown off, and eventually I got sick of getting the runaround and decided I'd figure out how to fix the thing myself. And so began my wonderful days with computer hardware. Built my first system in November of 2002, and haven't looked back. I build and maintain all my desktops these days, and I'd custom build machines for special purposes if I ever needed to, but definitely a big fan of PC hardware. And also, around high school too, I got into electronics as well. Did some soldering, etching printed circuit boards and things like that. Worked with multimeters and AC and DC circuits and stuff. So all of this really kind of went well together. As far as audio-visual type stuff goes, that kind of goes back to high school for me. One of my nicknames in high school was Mr. PowerPoint. Care to guess why? So I found out about PowerPoint, and I just had a blast with it. All the slides and animations and all the pretty colors and stuff like that. Eventually, when I paired that up with me messing around with microphones and stuff like that, I found out that you could basically make cartoons and infomercial type things in PowerPoint. So guess what I did when I had some free time in high school? Then I got to college, and my on-campus job was as an audiovisual student assistant. So here I am doing all this AV stuff in college, and then the AV became part of IT, so now AV, IT type stuff mixed together. Yeah, I think it's pretty plain to say where this all comes from. Then there's audio recording. From the early days when I talked into a tape recorder because I thought it was fun, to messing around with microphones on Macintoshes and PCs in my school days, to the kind of audio mixing that I did as a wild and crazy college radio DJ with a Saturday night metal show in college. Yeah, let's just say that you gotta scratch the microphone itch from time to time when you're a nerd like me. So put all of this together, and it's pretty obvious where all this MultimediaJay stuff comes from. So that's basically where I'm coming from as far as this kind of nerdy type stuff goes. And I hope this explains why specifically I do what I do on here, and gives you an idea of what to expect from this new series. As well as the sister series, well, sister series, I use that term very, very loosely, the radio series, which is not really radio, but who cares? That's why radio's in quotation marks in the title. So there you go. Those of you who've wanted to know just who the heck I am and why on earth I do what I do on here, there's the intro video that has long been absent from this channel. Now if you'll excuse me, I think it's time to get back into doing tech type videos and stuff like that. So stay tuned. This is the wacky world of MultimediaJay, and it's time to get going with this new series. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for watching, and thanks for stopping by.